better grab your pen and book, and of course making sure that you get to learn. I'm seated with a very, very instrumental person in matters what we're talking today. Communication expert who is very key in matters communications, advertising, and PR. We're here to discuss a lot of things that pertain the way we perceive advertising and how we get to look at what we can do as a people. I'm seated with Dr. Situma Eliud K. He is the communications consultant at TrinLab Communications, and of course also working in the faculty at KU, where of course it's among a few other things. He was my lecturer as a student a few years ago, and I'm glad to have him on set for the first time in this kind of formal communication as we discuss advertising, public relations, how we need to communicate that your stuff, your good, your services are out there for people to enjoy, and of course for you to get resources around you. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you this wonderful morning.
You're welcome.
Kindly introduce yourself in this particular camera. Tell us who you are. I think I have said just a few things about you. Tell people exactly what you do, then we have an awesome conversation here.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Dr. Eliud K. Situma. I'm a communication consultant, currently working for TrinLab Communications. Actually, what we do there is we help brands to gain visibility in the market. So for a very long time, we've been dealing with both international and local brands, specifically to ensure that they have a competitive edge. And you realize that advertising is so key, and that's why today we are going to focus on advertising.
Amazing, amazing.
Yes.
And just to bring you to speed, a couple of days ago, we had Aramis going viral due to the fact that people are wondering, why do we have Aramis in every lady's bag? And of course, we don't see advertisements of Aramis anywhere. And we are here to understand many ways that people and companies use to make sure that products actually get to customers and customers are satisfied, and of course, getting feedback from customers as well. We're here with Dr. Situma, and I would love us to go directly and deep into this so we can get to inform people maybe who are watching us today and want to go into pushing their products out there. Because I realize a number of people and a number of Kenyans are seated with awesome, amazing products in their houses. But they're like, we have big brands out there. We don't know how we're supposed to go into the market and compete with them. Mm-hmm. So the first question I want to ask you is, what are the different ways in which people can advertise their products?
Thank you very much, Martin.
Mm-hmm.
To start with,
mm-hmm.
when you talk about advertising,
mm-hmm.
actually from a traditional perspective, we could say that advertising was the only way of really getting your product to be known out there. And the reason why advertising is really core, and maybe for the sake of the viewers, we understand that it is a persuasive communication. So people have just thought that when you see an advert, when you see a billboard, that is it. It's actually a story that you are saying. So when you talk about advertising, you are telling a story about your product.
Yes.
And the way you package your story really matters. So it is very important to ask yourself, how am I going to package a story for my product? Do you have any story behind it? And how am I going to tell this story to my consumers? So at the end of the day, I increase sales. Because ultimately, the reason why people produce products is to actualize sales. You don't produce a product so you stay with it in the house.
Definitely.
Or rather, you just put it there. For any organization you're working with, whether it is local, whether it is international, one of the key objectives is profit maximization. You can't maximize profits if you're not selling out your service, if you're not selling out your product. So for you to sell, and I want to really emphasize on this,
yes.
For you to sell, you need to package it in a way that you will stand out. And when you talk about advertising, you need to understand that when you are saying a story about your product, there are various stages. There's a time when you are only introducing the product in the market.
Yes.
That's when you're introducing, and maybe you are a monopoly. No one else has a brand like yours. So the reason why you advertise is basically to inform, to create awareness, so that people can know that, oh, okay, fine.
Yes.
So there's a product that exists in the market by this name. Then, once you penetrate the market, you realize, okay, there are other people, there are competitors who are coming in. So that's what we call in advertising at the second phase. And this second phase is you are growing into the market. There are other competitors who are coming into play. So the reason why you're actually advertising to persuade, to keep persuading that, okay, despite the fact that there are other products in the market, look at this, mine is better. So that is actually having a competitive edge. Then it gets to another third stage in advertising, which we call maturity stage. This is where now there's enough competition in the market. So the reason why you're advertising at that point is to keep reminding. And that's why people ask, how come big brands, they keep advertising and they're already known? Basically, is to keep reminding that, yes, look here, we are still a market leader. So even if there are other competitors who are coming in the market, we're still there. So that's the reason why these three stages in advertising are important. And what has been happening currently is that now we've moved from just advertising per se. Like even if when you talk about advertising agencies that are out there like TrainLab Communication, we realize that you can't only focus on advertising only. So right now when supporting brands, we go for what we call integrated marketing communications. Okay? So integrated marketing communication, you are looking at all other aspects that will help a brand to have visibility in the market, to have a competitive edge in the market. So here you put PR there, you put sales promotion there, and advertising as part of it. So when a client will come to your agency, what he wants to do ultimately is he wants to ensure that his product has visibility in the market. So you don't just use advertising per se alone. You have to use the 360. That's why like at TrainLab we talk about a 360 communications approach. So even when you are developing a strategy, you put it as integrated marketing communications. Yes.
Wow. I totally love that integrated marketing communications. That's very important because many people are just focused on a one channel thing. I want to use that channel to reach to everybody, and that's not possible in the long run.
No, you can't. You can't do that because you realize that even media house like Kenya, KUTV, they survive based on the revenue they get from advertisers. So you see, advertising actually still plays a very, very important role. Media houses will collapse if they can't get revenue from advertisers. So so the question is, are we still focusing on advertising from that traditional perspective? And are media houses still going to survive in the next 10 years just relying on advertising? And here by advertising, because for the sake of the viewers, advertising, you look at different media that the platform where you put your advertising, maybe on TV, on radio, on billboards, and print, on newspapers.
Newspapers as well.
So there are so many angles to it. So I was actually, before I forget this, I was talking how media houses are gaining from the advertising industry. So you find that they're actually earning income. Like 90% of the income for media houses across the world is actually it comes from the advertisers. So if you are running a program without any advert behind it, it implies that you can't sustain. But now there's this digital disruption that has come into place. That now people are moving, advertisers, and when I talk about advertisers, I'm talking about those people who own the product themselves. Like they are the people who are sponsoring that advert. So you look at, people are looking at which is the most cost-effective way to ensure that my product is known out there and I don't spend as much as possible. And I think this is a worrying trend, especially for media houses. Like previously, what made advertisers to look for a media platform where they could get publicity is the viewership trend. If we are talking about TV, I don't know what's your viewership trend in KUTV currently. You have the statistics? Do you have any statistics about the viewership trend?
Yeah.
Viewership.
The viewership trend of you see. Right now we're moving so much and so fast into the social media.
Yes.
And many companies are actually channeling their energies to those particular social media as opposed to traditional media.
Yes.
So that's where we are headed. But the other question that really comes into play is, what is the relationship between sales and advertising?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, so you realize, actually the point I was making is that media houses can't survive without advertisers.
Yes.
Now, advertisers are looking for an alternative way of advertising. They're going the digital way. They're going the social media way.
Yeah.
Like previously, you could see people, they're hiring the best faces for news anchoring so that they could attract more advertisers. Because one, the listenership goes high, the ranking goes high, many advertisers will get attracted to advertise on your media house. But with the digital disruption, you want to ask yourself, what is likely to happen? Then when now you come to the question that you asked about the relationship between sales and advertising.
Yes.
I've already alluded to that number one, and this is from a legal framework. You know, right now we have the new constitution.
Yes.
And if you read Article 46, it talks about the need for consumers to be aware of their products. People are not going to buy your products unless they are aware, because they are, you know, the constitution has really created awareness. So for them to be aware, you advertise. And now that we are moving from advertising, we use what we call integrated marketing communication.
Yes.
So you use all methods possible, whether it's a public relation, whether there are road shows, whether it's online activations or point of sale activation, to ensure that people become knowledgeable. There's a hierarchy through which the human mind, or rather consumer mind, is. That first, when you are advertising, you have to create attention, then interest, then desire, then the call to action.
Yes.
So using this principle...
I actually remember that from a class.
Yes, that is what we call IDCA principle. So that for any advertiser, he's interested in the final phase. The overt action, the action of a consumer purchasing, so that it increases sales. However, the human mind is not positioned that way. You can't just advertise, then they buy. First, you create awareness.
Yes.
Once you've created awareness, now you arouse their interest. They start getting interested. Oh, okay, there's this new product.
Yes.
So what is the benefit for this? Which benefit is there if I were to buy this service or buy this product today? Then they start developing the desire. Then now you come from an economic perspective, you ask yourself, do we have the purchasing power? See?
Yes.
And that's why you find that some advertisers will target, they'll have their own niche. They'll target maybe the upper class, because they know the product can only be purchased by this class of people.
Yes.
So even when you're advertising, segmentation is very important. For you to realize sales, you have to get your market niche, segment, know that these are the people who will go through all these stages from attention to the overt action of actually purchasing. So that at the end of the day now, the books of accounts will look good.
Will look good.
Yes.
And as we wind up for the sake of time, but going back to Aramis, the issue about Aramis coming up and it really causes us to focus on something that we need to look at today. Sales and advertising. Is it really necessary to advertise first question, because we see products like Aramis, we have never seen their adverts anywhere. We haven't seen Aramis on TV, we haven't had Aramis on radio, we haven't seen it on newspaper, we haven't seen a billboard of Aramis. So this mainstream advertising, is it necessary for every product? That's the question, because now we might be looking at some of these things in a different way. Is it necessary to advertise some of these products?
Okay.
That's the key question.
First, I disclaim I'm not holding brief for Aramis, but I'll give comments generally.
Yes.
You know, previously people have said that there are those very basic needs in the society that you might not need to advertise. That somehow people have to purchase them.
Yes.
Whether you advertise or not, they have to purchase. However, and I go back to what I talked about, integrated marketing communication.
Yes.
That yes, you might not be going full board in terms of advertising, in terms of using the traditional way of creating awareness. But there are other ways, like at point of sale activation. You might go there and find that when these products are in the supermarket, there are people activating them at the point of sale. Then also peer-to-peer, yeah? So that you find, okay, I've been using Aramis, so if you use it, the outcome is the best. So you find that it's a peer-to-peer kind of promotion.
Yes.
So, but how, to what extent could this have been, like if you were to compare the sales using the peer-to-peer, and if they went full-fledged into advertising, maybe their stocks could be way above what they are realizing now. So the question, the answer is, it is very, very important to advertise.
You see, first of all, when you go to the shelves of the supermarket,
yes,
the first thing you notice about Aramis is it doesn't have the picture of a girl, of a beautiful girl they are posing. It has a picture of a cow.
Yes.
What do you think really pushes people to use that particular product? That's the question.
Very well.
Because now a lot of people are using it. If you go into ladies' handbags, that's what they pull out.
Yes.
And they use it. They use it, in maybe, for lack of a better word, in opposition to other bigger brands.
Yes.
That they can use that on their hands and as oil for application. They can use it for their lips as well. Why are they choosing such a product which is not being advertised? Don't you think they have strategies inside that really focus on the niche you're talking about? Yes.
Yeah, there are many strategies that are in play here. You see, we talk about price penetration strategy. So you find that there's a way you can price your product without necessarily advertising, and you penetrate the market. So that if somebody was to go and buy a competing product, which is likely to give the same function the same way. So when they go to the shelf, they realize, okay, there's a price penetration strategy here. Aramis, it's lower compared to these other brands.
One, yes.
So you find that there are all these tactics that you're going to use. And there's now the aspect of branding. You know, branding is not necessarily, we no longer talk about sex sells. Like you have to use that beautiful lady, that beautiful man, that handsome man for you to attract sales or to make people love your brand. There's also what we call, how do you stand out in the crowd?
Yes,
So
definitely.
that when everyone is using a human model, you decide, no, let me use a cow.
Yeah.
I mean, you still stand out. You still stand out. So that's like a unique selling proposition, what we call USP. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
That was Dr. Situma, and that's been amazing conversations. I mean, you can do it your own way. That's the greatest lesson I've learned today. You can do it your own way, and that's how he has finished it. Just in like 10 seconds, kindly tell people where they can find you on socials, because and who exactly can come to you for services. What kind of company?
Okay. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm a communication consultant, TrainLab Communication. We've been dealing with both local and international brands. So if you want to find me on Twitter, it's Eliud Situma. On Facebook, Eliud Situma. I never change my name. And if you want to create visibility, this is the place to come. We'll ensure that you have visibility in the market. Thank you very much.
Amazing, amazing. That was Dr. Eliud Situma, a communications expert, someone who has his hands in advertising, PR, and communication. Quite key. And of course, we shall be looking at some of the things he's going to do. He's going to come back, of course, to talk about PR sometime later. PR, as you may think you know PR, that's not how it might be. So we're going to go deep into PR. I'm going to be going into deeper issues in this particular show and other shows as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.